Hey, everybody. I got a question from another investor the other day. He says, how are you mitigating risk in the current environment in your note funds? And as most of you know, our note funds are our largest amount of our portfolio. We do have shopping center purchases as well, but the bulk of our capital is in note funds. So it's a great question. How do we mitigate risk in note funds going forward and in this turbulent economy? Risk in lending or in notes is broken down into three categories. We call it the three Ps. And you may have heard this on other videos. The first P is paperwork. And we're not going to focus on that today because after years and years of doing thousands and thousands of notes in multiple states and having to go through the foreclosure process in at least a dozen states over those years, we understand the paperwork pretty well and we feel that that's pretty tight. But the other two Ps is where we really have to mitigate risk. And the next one is the people. And what do I mean by that? I mean the borrowers, right? The borrower is a big part of the risk. Is this borrower somebody of good moral character? Is this borrower somebody that pays their bills? Is this borrower somebody that has experience in doing a project of this size and nature? Is this borrower accurate in their assessment of the value of the property or in the assessment of what it's going to cost to fix the property? All of those things fall to the second P, which we call the people. And how do we mitigate risk? When we're in a turbulent time, or when we're in an uncertain time, or when we're in a declining market, if we were to determine that that was where we are, we just ratchet down the risk on the people side. So we do that through a number of ways. We might say, hey, in order to get this type of loan, you have to have this type of credit score now instead of this credit score. We might say, in order to get this type of loan, you need to bring this much down payment instead of this much down payment. Or we might say, you have to have this much money in the bank instead of this much money. All of those things allow us to ratchet down the risk on the people side. And then on the third P stands for property. And on the third one, it's a simple question. If this borrower went bad, in other words, if they defaulted on their loan or got sideways in their project, would we want to own the property? And if it's a resounding no, we wouldn't want to own on the property, then we're going to rely much more heavily on the second P, which is, well, is this a person that we believe we would never have to own the property? And if either one of those is on the fence, we're probably going to deny that loan. If they're both on the fence, we're definitely denying the loan. But we need one of those to be strong, and in most cases, we're going to need both of those to be strong. Now, when I say a property that we'd like to own, case in point, we had a property the other day that, not the other day, several months ago, that we lent on, and I made the comment to the borrower, who is a friend of mine. I said, I hope you don't pay us. And of course, he knew I was joking. He knew I was just making a joke with him. And he's like, no, trust me, you ain't getting this one. And that's just the banter we have back and forth with some of our borrowers when we know the loan to value on this property is so low that if we did end up with the property and we disposed of it, we would be in a better position than if they paid us as agreed. So I hope that's helpful to you in understanding the three Ps in how we mitigate risk in notes and lending. If you have any other questions or you'd like to continue that conversation, feel free to reach out to me at tom@ils.cash, and I'm happy to continue it with you.